So now that we've gathered all the information that we need through the Burp Suite HTTP intercept, we'll begin to formulate our attack with Hydra. I've used Hydra a lot, but even I forget the correct syntax to use for the command. So I like to keep a file that has a working command I've used in the past to reference when I create a new one. But we'll be starting from scratch. So start with Hydra. Now you want to use your IP of the server, which can be found in Burp by host. Control-Shift-V will paste for you, or you can right-click and paste. Next, you'll do dash or attack, lowercase l, because we're only using one username, and then the username we want to use, which for us is admin. If we didn't know that username and we wanted to use a list of usernames for Hydra to attempt to log in with, then the lowercase l would change to uppercase, and we'd give Hydra our path to the word list. But we already know our username, and it's admin. But for our password, we don't know, so we do have to provide a list. So for password, it would be dash uppercase P, and then the path to a large word list containing passwords. I like to use the rocku.txt word list. It's extremely large, but a very popular word list used in penetration testing. I never remember the correct path to that word list. So if I wanted to find it, I use a command known as locate. And this works for all file types, as long as you know the name of the file. But if you only know partial name, you can get a lot of results. So it's best to narrow it down as much as possible. So I'm going to do a locate rocku, one word. So it gave a lot. So to narrow that down even more, I know it's a text file. So I'll do locate rocku.txt. I have two results. .gz means that this file is zipped. If this is the only file type you have, your instructor can walk you through how to unzip that text file. I have unzipped it already into the opt/wordlist/rocku.txt. And that's the one I'm going to use for our attack. So right-click and paste, or Control-Shift-V to the path to your word list. Next, we're going to tell Hydra what kind of HTTP request this is. As we know from Burp, this is a HTTP GET request. So we'll do HTTP GET, but not request. Hydra likes form. So now that that's defined, we'll begin setting more of our variables. But this will all be in string format. So that means we need to open it up with a quote. Now we need to provide the URL path to Hydra. For us, if you go back to Burp, look at the request of everything before the blue username. You can copy. And paste. Anytime you're working within these quotes or within this string, all your variables and all the information you provide from here and all this information that we will provide is separated by a colon. And that'll make more sense as we move on. But for our knowledge now, we've already provided the URL. Now we're going to provide another piece of information. So to separate those two pieces of information, we're going to use a colon. Now we need to do the username and password that we provide to the website. So if you go back to Burp and see the blue username is the start of those fields. You'll copy all of that, even the login equals login. Copy. Make sure you have your colon between the two and paste. For Hydra, we provide a username and a list of passwords that we want it to use. But Hydra doesn't know where to put these in our URL. So we need to define two variables for Hydra so that it knows. And those variables are user and pass. To define a variable for Hydra, you use the character above the number 6, which is a caret. So we'll do caret user for the username. And that just went into this space that we had admin written earlier. We took it out and we put the user variable. And you'll do the same thing for password. Take out what you put for the password, caret, pass, caret. So now it knows this username of admin goes in the variable user. And all the words in this rocku.text for the password field are going to go in this variable pass. Since we're providing new information, we're going to do a colon. Now we need to know the failure message. If you go back to the web application, ensure that you have Foxy Proxy, Burp Proxy off. Make sure that intercept is off. And log in with an incorrect password for admin. I'm going to use 12345. We'll log in and get our login failed message. This is important because it tells Hydra after you've used a password that isn't right, this is the response from the server that you're going to receive. If this variable isn't set correctly, it'll tell you that every word in your word list is a correct login, but we know that's not true. Another way to get this information is to go into your repeater, and this HTTP request is the same request that I just used by logging in here. But if you send it, the server responds. You can go through the HTML, and here you see username and password incorrect. But the easiest way, just do it through the web app. So now we have that. We'll copy it, even the period. We'll copy all that. Make sure there's a colon. Control-Shift-V. There we go. Now the last thing we need to provide is your cookie. It's a new piece of information, so we'll separate with a colon. To preface the cookie is always H equals. Go back to burp. Copy the whole cookie line, even the word cookie, and paste. Now that we're finished with all the information, we need to close the string with another double quote. So a quote here and a quote here. So to reiterate, we have the tool Hydra on the server IP, lowercase l for one username of admin, uppercase P for a word list of all these words to try and attempt for the password. We told Hydra, hey, this is an HTTP GET request by saying HTTP GET form. We opened the string. We told it the URL is here. We put a colon. We said, here's your username and password fields and the login. We put another colon and gave it our login failed message verbatim. Another colon, H equals the entire cookie line, and then we closed that string.